Welcome to Parties Extra. I'm Helen Ford Wallace, and we are at the Oklahoman's Video Studio to talk to Joy Reed Belt, owner of JRB Art at the Elms. Hello, Joy.
Hello, Merry Christmas.
And Merry Christmas to you. There are a few more shopping days till Christmas, and you have some great art in the gallery,
well,
plus
we do.
Some excellent jewelry and other items that shoppers and art lovers can pick up.
We have a wonderful show. Well, three wonderful shows right now, but one of them is Jim Kiefer.
And he's got great art.
He does, and he has just outdone himself this year, and there's a variety of sizes and everything, but you know, he does this primitive Western kind of, and they're just wonderful. He gave an artist talk last Saturday and explained his new direction and everything, and it was really interesting. And then for the first show she's had in years, we have Jean Richardson.
And she has wonderful art. And
she
always
does.
has had.
Always has. And she's working with a new palette now that's a little brighter, a little darker, more contrast. And it's just wonderful work. And then, you know, Beth Hammock that we have. Well, Beth Hammock and her daughter in Austin have created this art product that they make, which is kind of minimalist art, and they've used their names, B for Beth, so it's B and then plus sign E, simple.
B and E simple.
So B and E simple, B plus the E simple. And so this is their product line, and they're all black and white.
So those are
minimal
all available.
Art. Yeah, and it's a whole new product and a new fun thing for them to work on together.
So your gallery is usually filled with Christmas
and
items.
we have a lot of jewelry, and we have I don't know that we have any more garments, but the woman that made this jewelry also does fashion, and this is one of her dresses that I bought. We had a trunk show earlier this month, and this is made out of sweatshirt material, so it's very cozy.
It's darling. It looks good on you too. So you have all, you can get that too.
You can get it. You can get it. Yeah, but we sold out.
Items available, I think.
Yeah.
So, are your Christmas decorations up in the gallery?
We are, and John Wolfe did them again this year. And he primarily does really natural things and creates these wonderful vignettes. But yesterday we had a Paseo party there last night, a chili supper, and so I looked around, and the magnolia leaves that he had put in about 2 weeks ago were really gone. So I rushed around. I couldn't find any live magnolia leaves, so I went to a florist and bought some fake ones, and it doesn't look nearly as good. He'll be upset when he walks in, but the others were just gone.
Oh my gosh! Well, but you all decorate outside and inside?
Inside, a little bit, yeah, a little bit. Well, it's the season.
Well,
it's
and
the
that's
season.
the coziest gallery in town. It's so
the
fine.
3 fireplaces help. 3 fireplaces make you feel cozy.
So in January, you have something kind of exciting happening.
Well, it is. You know, we have been there almost 20 years in that building, and the first show I had in that building was an artist named DJ LaFawn. And DJ was grew up in Utah, got his MFA in Utah, then moved as head of the art department to Ada. And when he retired from Ada, he moved to Norman. And he's arguably one of the best artists Oklahoma has ever had. You know, and he was here for 30 or 40 years.
Variety of subjects.
Variety of subjects, different series all the time. He worked in every medium. You know, I have artists that are primarily oil painters, or I have watercolor artists, or I have sculptors. He did pastels, sculpture, watercolors, oil, and I asked him one time how he made the decision what to use, and he looked at me, you know, like I didn't have any sense, and he said, "Well, the painting tells you. You didn't know that? The painting tells you what medium to use."
Oh wow!
And so all my other artists were always fascinated by him because he just excelled in all of those forms. Well, he died several years ago, and in this last month, I have acquired the remaining body of work from his estate.
Oh, well, that is very exciting.
So it is.
It's a lot of it.
It's a lot because he was very, very prolific.
How many pieces do you think?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because I have boxes of prints and I have boxes of drawings, and so those haven't been counted. Just the boxes, the number of boxes has been counted. And I'm not sure, but this is a wonderful thing because I feel myself shifting gears. And you know, the gallery was my third act. My first act was education. I taught at almost every level, grade school through college. And then I did human resources consulting for many years. That was my second career. And then John Belt gave me painting lessons to try to get me to relax in 1999. And then he used to tell people I gave Joy painting lessons to relax, and she started another business, so I failed. And so I've had the gallery, and the gallery we've been highly productive in that we have had every first Friday we've introduced not just one show, but maybe 3 shows in the total building. And we have done that all of these years now. And there are several artists that I gave them their first show that they had in their career. And I have helped them find other galleries around the country and had influenced their careers. Yes, there are a lot of them. And so I'm thinking now that what I want to do is settle on some artists like LaFawn and start creating a legacy for them. I want to start writing. I want to show their work. I want to convey to the public what I think their work means. I want to get them museum shows, and I want to publish monographs and books about them. And LaFawn is one of those
and
people.
You had the perfect opportunity.
I had the perfect opportunity. So when I was approached, you know, I had already thought, okay, I think I want to do this, and how do I work toward that? And one of the ways that we're moving is this next year we're going to have a show every other month. So the shows will be up 2 months. We'll be open every first Friday, but the shows will be up 2 months instead of 1 month. No gallery in the country does a show every month. And people have told me that, but I think it was important back then. And the artists in Oklahoma needed that visibility.
Well, and you brought people to Paseo.
And brought people to Paseo. And Paseo's doing great.
My gosh, Paseo is I mean, it is gone.
We've got good art, we got good food. And
it is busy every single night.
It is. And we're so fortunate that as our city has grown, and as all the things that the MAPS projects and everybody did, you know, to foster creativity and innovation, artists don't have a problem of finding places to show, as they did when I first started 20 years ago. There are opportunities for them, so I don't feel like that we'll be letting anybody down particularly. But I do want to leave the shows up and do more in-depth research about them and talk about, have a dialogue with the public about what the art was really trying to do in a different way than when you just display it.
And you're a great storyteller.
Well, there's so many stories.
I mean,
every artist has a story.
But you are
every
good
painting has a story.
You are good at telling those stories. You are fabulous.
Every painting
this fits you perfectly.
Has a story. So this is what I want to do. So all of us at the gallery talked about it, and I talked about it, you know, with the Paseo Arts Association, that I would kind of change. And that was before I had been approached about the LaFawn estate. But that was the direction that I was going to go in. And LaFawn was one person that I was going to focus on. But to be able to own his estate and be able to start interpreting it that way. It's going to be great.
So you just will focus on their legacies too.
Yeah, but I'm still going to introduce some artists, and I'm still having shows of, the artists that I represent. They will have shows. Sometimes we have shows other places besides the gallery, like Beth Hammock is up at the Myriad Gardens right now. And when she comes, I've probably got 25 or 30 paintings down there. They just look wonderful. And then she's coming down at the end of the first week in January, and I'm putting Carol Beasley there, who's a landscape artist, a professor emeritus from OU. And so I'm showing, I've had invitations to organize shows and take them to other galleries and art institutions around the country. So if I just have my own show changing every other month, I can accept some of those invitations.
And how fun that would be.
Yeah, that'd be fun. It'll be fun.
Great. Well, so writing articles and
or getting other people to write them. Getting curators, having time to go talk to an art expert and say, would you look at this body of work? And do you think there's a story there that you'd like to tell? And getting them to do that, so that the artist in Oklahoma will have more of a permanent legacy.
That's awesome. So you'll still do First Friday?
Absolutely. And we may change out a different room every month, have a little pop-up, something new. So something new for somebody that comes every month, but we're not going to change out the whole gallery that way.
But DJ, that will take all your gallery, I would think.
It will. I think in January he'll be in every room.
I would think so.
He'll be in every room. And like I said, what I have done historically is I have, had the reception and everything for them, but I just give them part of the gallery, But he'll be in every room. But what he did, all my artists that I represent, as opposed to the larger number that I sometimes show, I promised them a solo show every other year. That was the deal. Now I might have some of their work in the racks and in the collector's room, but they had their own show. So he took advantage of that, and he worked in series. So he would have a totally different body of work every other year. One year he had a farm series, and he drove from here to California and visited all the family farms he could find that were having trouble and were closing or selling, to other bigger farms. And he did these wonderful, I remember a painting I saw called Crow Man. And it was 6 feet tall and probably 4 feet wide. And it had a man in overalls. And then all the border of the painting was black crows. And this man was going under, in his farm. And so he did this thing of Crow Man. And then one year we were having an election, and his show was political. And he was so vocal in those paintings that there were 2 or 3 of them I was afraid to hang. I did. And the first 10 minutes of an opening, I stood in front of one of them, and somebody came up and said, what are you covering up? And I showed him, and he laughed, and so that gave me the courage that I didn't have to stand there all night. He wasn't that offended. He found it amusing, so that gave me hope.
That's interesting.
But and he did a whole businessman series.
So you got lots to work with.
And then one year he had a stroke, and they called me to come to the hospital, and he told me, he probably couldn't do the show that year. And I said, well, I'm not going to take you off the calendar. I'm counting on it. And I said, is there a show that you've wanted to do that you've never done in your life? And he said, there is one. But he said, I don't think it would sell. So you wouldn't want it. And I said, well, why don't you worry about painting and let me worry about whether or not it sells? That's not your job. And so he did a series of paintings of everybody that had influenced his life. And he painted them in the style or the period of history that they lived in. And if they were painters, he painted their portrait in their style.
Wow.
And it was the most remarkable show. And there's still a few of those, but he did Jason Pollock's wife, Lee Krasner, who abstract expressionist, who people thought that she was a better painter than Pollock, but she spent her life promoting him. Oh. And he did her portrait in that abstract expressionist style. He did Aubrey Beardsley as this effete gentleman with, and he even applied lace on his shirt,
just
in the lapels of the shirt, kind of. And it was the most remarkable show. And then he did a lot of drawings from that.
That's awesome.
But it is
it's going to be
wonderful.
Wonderful.
It's just going to be a wonderful show.
When you get it all unpacked, we want to hear about it.
Well,
we really do.
It's going to be great.
So you've been lovely every single year to have us all to brunch on New Year's Day.
Yes,
so
we have done that for 20 years.
And it's been wonderful.
But we're not going to do it this year. We may do it later in the year, because I've got to receive all of this work, and I need to get it registered, and I need the days between. See, if you have a New Year's Day show, and First Friday is your regular show, but you have New Year's Day, you have to get it ready early, so many days early.
Right.
So I don't see how I can do that and be taking in all this work and getting it photographed and getting it hung. And so we're going to postpone that this year.
That's it.
And then we may have a pop-up brunch later on in the year.
That's probably wise. Well, what else is going on in Paseo?
Well, we have a lot of good food down there.
That's for sure.
We do. Frida's is we have 2 restaurants named after artists. We have Picasso's and we have Frida's. And
they're both great.
They're different. They're different. And then we have, I don't know if you've been to this Japanese restaurant that is wonderful food called Gun. Which they told me they wanted to name it Gun, but it's like Shogun, but only they're shortened it. But they said it's the name of a character in a famous Japanese movie. So I don't know. But they have the grills there, and they fix the real Japanese food. And then the Red Rooster, which is the oldest continually operating bar and grill in Oklahoma. The Joshua and Andrea Gautreaux took that building, remodeled it. We got to looking in there, and there were 7 layers of carpet that were glued to vinyl tile. The vinyl tile was glued to plywood, and the plywood was glued to terrazzo.
Wow.
And they took all that down and have the terrazzo showing, and so it's going. And then across the street from that, we have a taqueria called the Mayan. But we have a lot of that, and then we just have some wonderful artist studios. Denise Duong has her own studio there, and called Little D, I think, is the name of it. And Dustin Dorr is there. In the Plunge, we have the coffee shop Holy Rollers, but there's also this wonderfully curated bookstore called Literati. And Charles Martin has that. And they have writers' workshops and things all the time.
You all have a lot going on.
Oh, we do. And then Shakespeare in the Park is there. And they're sold out. I saw her last night at the thing we had at the Plunge, at my gallery, and I saw the artistic director, and I said, how they're having a thing of Christmas Cracker is the name of it. And I said, now how long is it running? I've got to call and get my ticket. She said, Joy, they're sold out for the rest of the year. You cannot get a ticket. She said, if you want to come and sit in the sound booth and you promise not to cough, I can get you in. I said, well, I can. I probably have an asthma attack or something. But they just doing remarkable performances down there.
So lots going on. And so you've got Harding, you work on Harding, and you work on OU. You
I
have
do
lots.
OU. OU, I'm president of the Board of Visitors for the 5 colleges of art. And then I'm president of the Harding Foundation. And the Harding Foundation is the body that purchased the Harding building from the school board, Oklahoma City Public Schools. So we've got, this semester, we've got about 450 students in there.
Gosh.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot going on. And
Yeah.
so you said that at the end of the month, at the end of January, you have somebody coming in on a show. And then any other shows you want to mention that you have coming up?
Well, we have, we'll have Beth. We always have Beth every June. And we'll have Beth, and we will have John Wolfe has got some, he paints, but he works in 3D. And he tells me that he's got some new 5-foot tall sculptures ready to bring me.
That's coming.
Oh, he is wonderful. And I could put a sculptor or two like that, the large ones, in a room with LaFawn, and they liked each other. They knew each other, and they liked each other, and their work would show well together.
Well, that's a good thought too.
And then we have a woman who grew up here. Her name is Karen Mossbacher. She grew up, she told me she went to John Marshall. She's now an artist in lives in Santa Fe. And she has synesthesia. And that is a disorder of the senses. And how it manifests itself in her is when she hears music, she sees shape and color, and she paints it.
Oh my.
So I have these series of paintings that each one is a different composition of Mozart.
My goodness.
That she sees, and I mean, it's very rare, but they think Van Gogh may have had it. There's some new doctoral research being done that may be Van Gogh, that he saw things so much as when he was so manic to get it all down quickly.
That's very interesting. See, I told you have all these stories.
Oh, well, all these people are interesting.
Okay, so you need to tell us when the gallery is open in the next few weeks, what times, and the location of the gallery.
Well, the gallery is 2810 North Walker, and I think we have a picture of the facade of the gallery behind me. But it's the only one down there with bigger than life-size sculptures, so it's hard to miss. And we are open from 10 to 5 Tuesday through Saturday, and 1 to 5 on Sunday.
During the holidays?
They haven't approached me about it, but I've got to make a decision. I mean, Christmas is next week. I think everybody's just wondering if I'm going to let them close. But I'll probably come down during the day, Christmas Eve, but we'll certainly be closed Christmas Day,
Okay, and anything else about any of your shows, about any gallery tips or anything you want to tell us?
Well, I just want to welcome everybody to come and look at art. I mean, it's okay if you're not going to buy it. I mean, it's not okay. I need you to buy it. But we're there. We want to share art, and we want you to have a wonderful experience. And
a good art collection.
And yes. And so I just want to invite everybody to come. And I've got a couple of grandparents, and I've had them before, that are buying their grandchildren a little painting every year.
How nice.
And that's just such a way to introduce a child to art. And then when they go away to college or they have their first apartment, they have a little collection.
Oh.
And I just think that's precious.
I do too. What a good idea.
I thought it was a great idea.
That's a good thing to bring
because they
out,
said, the other things that they ask for and you buy them they're not going to have them in 10 years.
No, but a piece of art
they will always have.
Well, that's lovely. That really is lovely. Well, thanks, Joy, for taking your time to tell us about JRB Art at the Elms.
Well, thanks for having me.
We cannot wait to view your new art and learn some history about the artist. You're a great storyteller. So, Joy, I know that your stories will be really, really good. Viewers, take time to visit the gallery and see all of Joy's excellent artwork. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.